Final chapter 27 Prairie Lotus. The party began to quiet down toward mid morning as the guests departed to preparing dinner for their families. With only a few people left lingering in the shop, the bells tinkled and the door opened yet again. Sam Baxter entered with his little sister Pearl. "Hello, Hannah," he said. "Hello, Sam. Hello, Pearl." Hannah was surprised to see him, and doubly surprised by how glad she was. "I've brought Pearl to visit your new shop," Sam said. "I figured it wasn't the other way around," Hannah replied with a smile. He laughed. "I'm not for dresses," he teased back. Pearl was looking around, her eyes large with amazement. "Can I see that?" She pointed at the button box. "Of course," Hannah said. "You take your time. I'll be right back." Hannah hurried into the workroom. She opened one drawer, then another, and found a length of red ribbon that she had put away weeks earlier. Back in the shop, Hannah held out the ribbon. "Here, Pearl, this is for you," she said. Seeing the joy on Pearl's face was by far the best moment of Hannah's day. "A ribbon!" Pearl exclaimed, reaching eagerly. "Will you tie it on me, miss?" "Of course," Hannah said. Pearl turned around, and Hannah began tying the ribbon to join the ends of Pearl's two little braids. A pang of yearning surprised her. Because Mama had been sick for nearly as long as Hannah could remember, another child in the family had never been a possibility. As Hannah tightened the red bow, she realized for the first time what a sister or brother would have meant to her. Someone with whom she could have shared memories of Mama. Someone else who would have been half and half. Pearl pulled one of the braids to the side so she could see the cheerful red bow. Over her head, Sam and Hannah exchanged smiles. "I heard you graduated," Sam said. "Congratulations." "Thank you," Hannah said. Pearl returned to her usual perusal of the button box. Sam beckoned Hannah surreptitiously, and they stepped back a few paces away. "I'll be back soon without her," Sam whispered. "It's her birthday next month, and I was wondering if you could make some doll clothes for her." "Such a lovely idea," Hannah exclaimed. "What fun it would be to design and make little doll clothing." "Bring the doll with you, if you can, or at least let me measure her, and bring Pearl for a visit whenever you like." That bright smile of his. "I will," he said. "It'll be something for her to look forward to." "Me too," thought Hannah, and she waved goodbye to them. "I'll look forward to seeing you both again." Could she learn to enjoy his company without thinking too far ahead? It now seemed possible, as if, in a single stroke, the success of the shop's opening had altered her view of the future. She well might be in charge of the shop in years to come, but today it seemed more than enough to know that for the next few weeks she would be sewing. She had been wrong earlier when she thought that her work as a seamstress would endear her to all of LaForge. There would always be those that she would never win over, no matter how many fine dresses she made. But she realized now that she no longer to be the approval of the hotel. She had a home with Papa, work that she loved, and a few good friends. Tea with friends is a feast for the spirit. Mama had never said those words, Hannah had thought, of them all by herself at that very moment. It's what I would say to her if she were here now. Hannah spent the rest of the week measuring customers for their dresses, helping them choose patterns and fabrics, drawing sketches of the changes to the patterns. Then she and Bess began pinning and basting and cutting and stitching. She went to bed early almost every night, exhilarated but also worn out from the long hours in the workroom. She often fell asleep when it was still light in the western sky. Staying busy during the day helped ward off memories of the assault. Being exhausted at bedtime kept away the nightmares. On the Saturday after the grand opening, she was in the workroom pinning a pattern piece when a thought struck her so hard she jammed a pin into her finger. What would she do if she saw Mr. Swenson again? It was bound to happen. Maybe not for days or even weeks, but sooner or later she would be walking down Main Street and he would be there. Should she avoid him, cross the street, change her route? But what if he saw her first? Perhaps she could make her face blank, or better still, ignore him altogether. She tried to imagine walking past him, her head high, utterly unaffected by his presence. But the possibilities for disaster seemed endless. Her knees might buckle, she might faint, get sick, or start to cry. She could already feel her stomach churning. "Breathe," she told herself sternly. She filled her lungs deep, then once again. She took out a handkerchief from her pocket, pressed the fabric against the pinprick of blood on her left middle finger. As she bent over her work again, she still didn't know what to do. At least she had asked the question, which had not occurred to her earlier because she hadn't been ready. It was the first step. Before there could be answers, there had to be questions. She decided to make every effort not to run errands alone, at least for a while. It would be easier to ignore the man if someone else was with her. She also thought about warning other girls and young women to stay clear of Swenson. Bess would surely be willing to help with that, and Miss Walters might have some other suggestions. Hannah already knew that she would never be able to forget what Swenson had done to her. For that, she would need to draw strength from other people, the way people in her life cared about her, Bess and Miss Walters, maybe even Papa, one day, someday. On an evening a week after the opening, she was in bed dozing off when she heard Papa's voice. Hannah, come give me a hand. I need your help. What could he want at this hour, she wondered. Thick-headed and rusty of voice, she called down, Do I have to get dressed? No, just put on your wrapper. She grabbed Mamma's old plaid shawl to drape around her shoulders, and went down the stairs in her bare feet, trying to rub the grogginess from her eyes. The sun had set, leaving behind a blue-gray twilight. Papa met her in the kitchen. Close your eyes, he said. She obeyed, of course, but couldn't help saying, Papa? Would you do as I say just this once? His words were curt, but in his voice she heard more amusement than exasperation. He took her by the hand, walked her to the far end of the workroom. There, he said, now a little to your left. He guided her another step or two. All right, open your eyes. Hannah blinked. In the dim light, her vision was clouded at first. Then she gasped at a shadowy image in front of her. A ghost? A mirage? But she looked so real, even her shawl. She moved her lips soundlessly. Mama? Well, what do you think? Papa's voice rang out sudden in her ear. He stepped forward, and at last she realized what she was seeing. In her own reflection, a full-length mirror with Papa behind her. The mirror was a long oval of glass with a smooth beveled edge, mounted on a hinged oak stand. While not as big as Mama's wall mirror, it was in one way even more useful. The glass could be tilted to alter the viewing angle to focus more on the lower or the upper half of the body. She turned to Papa, gave him a hug. He dropped a quick kiss on the top of her head. Who ever heard of a dressmaker's shop with no mirror? He said, smiling. You'll have to repaint the sign, she said. It's not Edmund's Dress Goods any longer. It's Edmund's Dress Shop. Yes, boss, he said, heaving a mock sigh. They laughed together. Then she faced the mirror again. Hannah had viewed her reflection many times in shop windows, puddles of water, and in the small looking glass. But it had been years since she had seen her whole self with such clarity, nor had she known how much she had come to resemble Mamma. Beautiful Mamma. So do you like it, Papa asked. Her reflection nodded at both of them. Yes, Papa, it's exactly what I need.